Well, good morning, everybody. Oh, there it goes. Now it's all lit up. Welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. Today is Tuesday, the 26th of June, 2018. I was looking at what the numerology of the day is, and overall, if you include 2018 in that figure, then it would be a 7. But 2018 reduces to 11, and that's a master number. So I think we're going to leave 2018 as one of illumination. So I think that makes sense. So if you don't do that, then that gives us a 5. So a 5 for today is change. It involves communication and things like that. So maybe we'll see some change come our way, huh? At least it'll be a day that change is possible. Let's just hope that it's positive instead of what we've been seeing lately. Because what we've been seeing has been kind of interesting, huh? Let me see if my volume is never up. I always forget to do that. It's anyone's guess how well I shuffle in the morning. With rheumatoid arthritis, even though I'm in remission, I still have, issues. And after a day of gardening, my hands don't work as well in the morning. But at least I don't have the pain that I used to have, and I don't have, my life is not completely put on hold for the disease process. That's what happens in chronic disease. I don't know why we accept any of it, but we do. And suddenly now we're ill, we're no longer human, we're ill. So we've taken on a new form, the ill form. Well, don't do it. Don't give in. You can heal. So let's count 13 today and see what the cards give us. Well, another court card. Boy. With the new guy's penchant toward wanting to be royalty or a dictator or something. At least we have here the Knight of Cups. We see a knight on his gallant steed, extending a cup. So he's, knights are passionate. Let's see, where is the best place to put this? Knights are passionate. I don't know if you can see my mouse button or not, or my mouse sign or not. Let's see. The knights are passionate. There, you can see you can see this. The pennant, well, actually, it's not a pennant. Let me get my magnifying glass. Okay, that's not a pennant. Those are wings that are on top of his helmet. Okay, and basically, knights can be impulsive. They can be very protective, but they can be very impulsive. Whenever I see a knight come up, although it can be something where they're going to go take care of business, it can also mean a lack of impulse control. So I always get concerned when the knights come up. With cups, that's our emotions. So when you're talking about a lack of impulse control with a knight and it's cups, then are his emotions going to be all over the place? So is he going to be driven solely by emotion and not by looking at the bigger picture, for example? That's generally whenever I see a knight come up. Knights are also called princes in other decks. I actually kind of like that better, but I think I relate better to pages as princesses instead of as pages. But anyway, usually when you'll see when the page has been transferred to a prince, or when the page becomes a princess in a deck, when the author will change those names around a little bit, then usually you'll see the knight will then be the prince. So they tend to follow suit there. As far as the Knight of Cups, you know, he's chivalrous and he's dreamy and he's willing to take on the unknown. He's willing to do what it takes. He's a visionary. But he can also be ruthless, and that's what I mean when I see a knight come up or a court card come up. It's like, okay, what trouble are these people going to cause for us today? I don't really see court cards as necessarily positive. Generally speaking, they talk about an authority structure that's patriarchal, that really has never served us well. So, you know, it's kind of an iffy thing when a court card comes up. And it's been interesting that that's a lot of what's been happening lately. I don't think that's coincidental. I don't think it's just one of those things. I think the fact that we have so many court cards coming up every day, I think it's telling us that we need to be very watchful of those in authority. Lots of things are happening that don't make sense, that seem to be really harmful. We used to own a motorcycle shop. My husband was a Harley mechanic, and we had an independent shop for a long time, and we closed it a few years ago and retired early. It wasn't intentional. We got evicted from our space, and we couldn't really find any place suitable. So, you know, Jerry just decided, you know what? I'm tired. I've been doing this for 20 years. Let's just go home. So I said, okay. And so we left. We had been in business for 13 years, and he'd been in, you know, a mechanic on Harleys for longer, of course. He'd been an auto mechanic, a motorcycle mechanic, a boat mechanic. He's done all kinds of things, you know. And but then we see the news yesterday. You know, we saw how all the Harley riders were, you know, and I know not all of them would have been. I mean, we were gone before, you know, the new guy came in. But you know, we're liberal, so there's a lot of them that were very conservative and supported, you know, didn't support President Obama, and they were Bush supporters and all of that. So, you know, I mean, we all come down where we come down on these sorts of things. You know, you can't be angry because someone doesn't believe the way you do. I know that, you know, we're all outraged when someone doesn't believe the way we do, but honestly, you know, it's just part of it. It's part of it. It's just different perspectives, different ways of looking at things. You might vehemently disagree, but it doesn't really matter. You know, it's just how people feel. So anyway, so I see this thing, you know, yesterday. Before, though, we saw how Kansas City's going to move their plant. They're going to close the plant and they're going to move it to Thailand. Well, I have to tell you, none of this is surprising. I mean, being on the independent side of that industry, and plus my husband worked for Harley for 6.5 years before we started our business. So, you know, he's worked for the motor company in a dealership. He knows what this is. So none of what's happening now is surprising at all. But nor is the fact that, you know, the new guy pulled a fast one on him, and now this tax cut is resulting in I mean, it'll be untold job losses with the and with the tax cut and with the tariffs, the trade thing that's going on. You see, it isn't just bike sales. It's clothing, it's parts and accessories, it's all of that. If they're not going to raise prices on dealers on the beginning of it, where they're giving them their bikes, if they're not going to raise prices there, and if they're not going to raise prices on the bikes themselves to customers, trust me, they're going to go up somewhere. They have to. They can't take $100 million hit, and that's what they're talking about. And they're not going to take it. So whatever they're telling you now might be true on one level, but on another level, trust me, it's all going to get very expensive to have a Harley. And now parts, you know, the price of steel alone is going to cause, I mean, everything is, you know, pistons, you know, everything. I mean, cams, everything. It's all going to go up. And what did he do? He trashed Harley, you know, for moving things over to Europe. They're going, look, businesses are going to do whatever they have to do to stay alive. And a company like Harley Davidson or another large company like that, they're going to have the funds to do it. And they're probably already going to have stuff in place over in other countries to do it. So whatever he thinks he's doing is going to harm us. It's going to harm workers. It's going to harm the Harley community in the long run. It's going to get cost to fix your bike is going to go up. Cost to do everything is going to go up. So, you know, this is a problem. So we'll see, you know, it's going to be very emotional for a while. So maybe the Knight of Cups has more to do with Harley than anything else. I don't know. But it's like, you know, bait and switch. You know, vote for me. I'll do what you want. I'll give you what you want. And then when they get in there, it's like they totally destroy you. It's like, well, it's the American way. So let's see what the runes say. Because with the court cards, you've got to pull a rune for sure. Oh, Fehu. First rune of the Elder Futhark. Let me come over here. Fehu's known as the sending rune. Fehu's good in magic. Tomorrow is the full moon, so if you're going to work magics of increase and set your intentions for the coming month or for whatever time period you want to set them for, it doesn't have to be for the whole month. It could just be for tomorrow or for the next day. You know, if you've got something going and that you want to do and you want to accomplish or you want to see change or you want to influence, Fehu's a wonderful rune to use. Just chanting it as you send the intention can energize that intention. It's I've seen it both listed as a fire and an earth rune, but I view it as a fire rune. Very it attracts very productive energy. It extends productive energy. It achieves success. It's good for use in bind runes or in a rune script where you're trying to actually do some rune magic, you know, an incantation using runes. Basically, though, the traditional interpretation is cattle and wealth, but it's not just wealth. When you think of cattle, you think of movable wealth. So your wealth is not, you know, your assets, your you know, whatever you've got going for you is not just simply in this one spot. It can be moved around. So if it can be moved around, then you can increase it, basically. So it can advance projects to the next phase. Basically, Fehu is that internal energy like Nothes is, where although that's the friction within, Fehu is let's get it going. Let's send that energy. So what does that have to do then with the Knight of Cups? What kind of energy are we going to be sending today, or this individual is going to be sending today? So if it's going to be on behalf of other people, if the Knight is someone who's going to go out and deal with life and protect people and protect the innocent, you know, maybe this is that attorney, Michael Avenatti. He's got, you know, 70 some, 80 some cases now. He's been down there at the border helping people. Are these our white knights? Is that what we're talking about? This is a very emotionally charged situation, hence the cups. Fehu, a very intense rune. It gets things going. It starts building energy. So is the momentum today going to begin to build on behalf of the innocent? Because, you know, we can talk about the knights being ruthless and maybe, you know, out of control, you know. So it could be about, you know, out of control things that are going to be happening today, but I don't know. With Fehu, I think that this brings us back to justice and avenging the innocent, maybe. But this has become, you listen to what the attorneys, you listen to what the Congress people that have been down there and to these different facilities. I say down there because these kids, they're everywhere now, aren't they? They're in New York. We've got folks here at Sheridan in Oregon. That's a federal facility. It's not kids. It's guys. I don't know how old. I don't know if it's adults or if it's boys. I don't know. I would think it would be men, but I don't know. Our guys aren't happy about this, but I don't know. and now we read that the military is that the soldiers themselves are outraged at the thought of bringing folks like this, bringing children, bringing families, and basically bringing them to a concentration camp on their bases. So maybe today, and I thought, and I was talking with a friend last night on Facebook, and she's like, well, what will happen if they don't go along with that, if they protest, if they refuse the order to do this, to participate in this? And what my husband said, you know, because he was military and all, he's a veteran. He said, well, you know, unlawful orders, you don't follow them. If they're unlawful, they're unlawful. And this feels unlawful. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But maybe what we're seeing is a staging now of our nights. Maybe with Fehu, we're going to get something going. We're going to get that energy of protection going. And maybe the nights are just there. They're looking forward into the future. Maybe the night is saying to us, you know what, I'm here. Things are happening. Maybe you don't know, but things are happening. Things are generating. You know, the will, because that's what we're talking about here with Fehu. As a fire rune, this is about will. And what are we going to do with our will here to deal with this awful situation? You know, yesterday, oh, let's not give them due process. Today, who knows? Today, maybe the nights are beginning to stage together. Maybe they're beginning to come together, and they're beginning to generate this movement, this momentum towards justice. That would be cool, wouldn't it? And listen, I wanted to say something to empaths here. We've got some video and some audio that's out now. I want you to know that it's okay not to listen to it. It's okay not to see it. You already know what these folks are feeling because you're picking up on it. And if this is devastating you, you have to turn it off. You don't need to see or hear it to feel it and to experience it. So you already know what's going on, and you already know the terror that's being felt by these folks. Now, because you're feeling it as well. And I want you to know that it's fine to pull inward, visualize all connections to everything and everyone dissolving. Just dissolve them all. And let yourself simply be in your own source presence, okay? It's the way to heal. It's the way to align. It's the way to stay focused on what's important. And it's a way to keep yourself protected from all of these energies that are hitting you, because it's chaos now. They're everywhere. And I can be in a store and I can walk by people and feel this uncontrollable sadness. I don't even know what's going on with them. But maybe they're having a loss, maybe with work, maybe, who knows? Who knows? So if you're very, very aware, if you're somebody that picks up on everything, then you have to take extra steps to protect yourself right now. This is a very difficult time. You don't need to be the night. That's not your function. Your function is to pull inward and hold that balance of source presence and not get into the muck of all of this stuff that's going on. In a sense, you have to stay above the fray, don't you? Because otherwise empaths absorb the energies instead of just simply observing them. But sometimes when we simply observe them, it's even too much. And that's what I'm trying to say right now. I think even looking at it is too much. If it's not, fine. But for me, I have to limit it now. It's just been just too much. To know it and to see it and to hear it, it's just too many senses, right? Too much awareness. And it's beyond what I can even deal with. So if I'm experiencing it, I expect other empaths are as well. So just, be kind to yourself and allow yourself that time to just decompress and pull inward and let go of those connections, those thought connections that you make to other people in other situations. Something bigger than ourselves happening today. Let's focus on sending love and compassion and support to those in need. Let's just stay vigilant and watchful and hopeful that all of this is going to resolve itself sooner than later, for the sake of those precious children who don't have anything to do with this. So, in any event, I think that's it for today. And you can check out my website, Stepping Aside. It's over at imsteppingaside.com. It's a witch blog. It has a lot of fun things. Lots of esoteric stuff. There's some cannabis stuff on there, stuff on Reiki, stuff on human design. I like that. In fact, I like human design more than astrology. I know that's anathema to astrologers, but human design is a really interesting philosophy. Or it's just it's a more, I don't know. It's more intricate, I think, in a different type of a way than astrology is, although I do love astrology. But lots of things over there to go visit, so I hope you check it out. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Blessed be.